everybody. I've been getting a lot of requests about what I've been doing in the first week with my puppy, so I'm making this video about what I've been specifically training my own little pup. Now, it really depends on your dog what you train first, and I actually have a video that I'll link below that's called What to Train First, and it really depends on your dog's personality, their genetics, the experience they had in the womb, and also, extremely importantly, what happened in those first 8 weeks will really determine what you need to work on. So, for example, the stuff that I did with my previous puppy, my little border collie, Halo, is extremely different than what I've worked on with this little one. Oh, she wants to eat my microphone. Basically, she couldn't be left alone when I got her, so that was the #1 issue that I was working on with her. But Halo, the breeder, had actually worked on separation training with all the puppies, so I could leave Halo for a couple of hours right from the start, and he was confident, and all he did was want to go to sleep or play with his toys when left alone. So a huge focus for this little one has been teaching her to be comfortable left alone, and I'll make a separate video tutorial on working on that with a little puppy or a dog that you might have adopted that is struggling with being anxious when you leave them alone. The 3 things I focused on with this little pup was 1, building our relationship, which I would do with any dog, using the attention game, teaching the recall, and teaching her an attention noise, a little kissy noise, and I'll link how to train that in the description below, so I could interrupt her behavior if she was doing something that I didn't like, and then I could redirect her to doing things I do want her to do. So this has been very helpful to interrupt her behavior. Say if she was running over to bother one of my dogs, I could interrupt her and then get her to play with one of her toys. So that was important. For the separation training, I not only worked on teaching her to be alone, but I also worked on teaching her to want to move away from me, to go to her dog bed, and to go inside a crate, and to go inside a pen. So that movement of choice to go away from me, to lay down, to receive reinforcement, and really building that concept of laying down. So at first when I got her, if the room was very cold, she didn't want to lay down on the carpet. So what I did was use a very cushy blanket that was very soft and velvety and very soft surfaces like my bed to initially get the behavior of laying down. I also worked on capturing the settle. So anytime I noticed that she was settling, I would go and drop a tiny little treat between her paws, and I'll link a video on how to train that in the description below. Your environment and the social situations that your puppy's going to be in throughout their life will also determine what you'll focus on. So I live with 5 other dogs, so that was an extremely important part of her training, is to teach her to get on really well with the other dogs. So I made a video about introducing her to my other dogs, and I also have a video on how I introduce dogs to each other that I'll link in the description below. But that was the biggest focus. So for her, my 2 main focuses were teaching her to be confident alone, because I saw that as being her #1 issue, and being respectful and reinforcing my dogs for being with each other without interfering with each other and building on positive experiences around each other. The most important things to work on with your own puppy in the first week that are really important is 1, starting to work on teaching the puppy to ignore clothing and fast movements so they're not going after your shoes, your pants, the leash, and I'll link a video tutorial on how to work on that. That's extremely important. Building your relationship with your puppy using the attention game, the recall, working on handling and grooming. This pup is amazing with handling and grooming, so I haven't focused on that as much, especially because her belly is so tiny. I limit the training to just, maybe 30 to 60 tiny pieces of food a day, because, smaller than the head of a pin, because there's just no more room in her belly, where with a larger breed puppy you could work on a lot more in a day using your dog's food. So I've also got her interested in playing with toys, so in the future I can do more training rather than the limit of how much she can eat per day. But with other puppies, it's really important to teach them what to do when they're loose in your living room, and this one, she's just naturally with just a little bit of training in the first day of getting her hooked on her own toys, she's ignored everything else around the house and doesn't chew on things yet. But if she were to, I would interrupt her and then redirect her using the kissy noise to then play with something that already exists in the environment. So with my little pups, I really like to have them loose in the living room and really watch them 100% of the time and guide the choices that they're making to set them up for success, rather than letting them rehearse things and find out they really like them, like chewing on the table legs and things like that. Other things to work on with just the average puppy is socialization, and I have a 30-minute video on socializing a puppy, and I'll link that in the description below. I also have one socializing during the times of COVID, because the pandemic hasn't ended yet, and I'll link that video. So it's how to stay safe and socialize your puppy at the same time, which is what I'm doing with this little one. So I've had guests visit in my yard where we can socially distance, and she's gotten to meet people. And luckily, I have my brother staying with me at the moment, so it's nice to have someone else coming in and out of the house, so she gets used to that. But obviously, with COVID, that's not always possible. House training is also a really important thing to focus on with your puppy. And the way that I do it is that anytime that there's a change in activity, so she's done playing, she's done eating, she's done sleeping, I will take her out or take her to a pee pad, because I want to train her to go in a box with a pee pad, so that I can, say for example, if I stay at a hotel, she can go there. Also, there was a mountain lion spotted near my house recently, and there are owls at night. So because she's so small, I've been a little bit freaked out about taking her outside with the other dogs to go to the bathroom, even in my yard. So at night I have her go in the box for safety reasons, because she's so tiny. It's pretty scary to have such a small dog, and I just want to keep her safety in mind. But it's also handy, like if you go to a hotel in a busy city, you can have the box with the pee pad in your room, so the puppy doesn't have to go all the way out in the morning to a busy street where there might not be any grass, or anywhere where there aren't lots of people walking back and forth. That might be really hard to get a little tiny dog to go to the bathroom on the streets of New York or something like that in the future. Hey, little one. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support my work, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. You can also become a supporting member of channel Kikopup by clicking the join button. See you later.